How to make homemade wine. Have you ever thought about making your own wine instead of buying it from the store? Texas Statute Title 4, Chapter 109, Subchapter B109.21 states that a permit or license is not required to manufacture anything under 200 gallons of wine, beer, or malt liquor per year. Most people believe that manufacturing alcohol is a hard process, but the fact is that it isn't very hard to produce. The manufacturing of wine is cheaper for a wine drinker than if you were to go buy it from the store. I will explain how to manufacture wine, starting with the collection of needed ingredients and materials, the production side, and finish off with bottling of the wine. The longest part of making homemade wine is the time a person must commit to the production. For this explanation, I will use the chosen fruit as wild plum, and the total amount that this will produce is 5 gallons. I will start by telling you what ingredients are needed to produce the wine from start to finish. The ingredients that are needed can be found at any grocery store and are very cheap to produce. Ingredients include 8 pounds of regular sugar, 3 packages of yeast, and 16 pounds of chosen fruit. The materials that are needed for this example is 1 5-gallon bucket with lid and has a small hole in it, 2 5-gallon glass cardboard containers, siphoning holes, airlock cork, large paddle, 24 empty bottle wine bottles, 24 corks, large kitchen bowl, measuring cup, and 1 large small hole mesh bag. These are materials that are needed to make the homemade wine, and some of the items you might have to order online, like the 5-gallon glass cardboard container and the airlock corks. Glass container and airlock corks. The next section of this will explain how to make the wine in each stage and the time required it takes for the total manufacturing of it. To start the process, you will need to wash the wild plums, then put them in a large mesh bag that you will tie up and throw into the bucket for the next step. Next, you will take the large paddle and begin smashing the wild plums to extract the juice from them. When the juice covers about 1/3 of the bag, you will then pick it up, hanging it on the side of the bucket to continue smashing the plums. Once the smashing is complete, you will hold the bag of plums out of the juice on the side of the bucket. Then attach the lid, leaving the plums inside for a total of 7 days to ferment. After 7 days, you will begin with pouring 4 pounds of sugar in the large kitchen bowl so that you can add just enough hot water to completely dissolve the sugar, and then empty the 3 packages of yeast into the measuring cup, adding just enough hot water to dissolve the yeast, and then mixing the yeast with the sugar. Remove the lid and bag of plums from the bucket, throwing away the plums. Then add the sugar and yeast mix into the bucket with the juice and stir in until mixed in. Next, you will place the siphoning hose in the bucket of juice so that you can transfer the juice from the bucket to the 5-gallon glass of cardboard container. I have found it easier that you tilt the bucket about 45 degrees so that you can watch the transfer to keep the sediments from being transferred into the cardboard. Once the transfer is complete, you will then add a little water to the airlock cork. Then fill up the cardboard with water until the neck begins to curve up. And then place it into the top of the cardboard to close it off. To finish this step, you will then place the cardboard in a warm place so that the airlock bubbles when the gases are being released for about 1 month, and the airlock quits bubbling. The final step in the process will be to repeat the previous steps, but we'll add a few steps. Once the month is up, you will need a siphon the juice from the carboy to another one, which with watching to make sure no sediments is transferred from one to the next. Then you will taste the juice to check for the flavor, and depending on the preference of the taste, you can add more sugar at this time until desired taste. Once done, you will attach airlock bolt back, then place in warm spot to let it set for another month or so. At the end of the month, the production side in making wine is complete and will be ready to begin bottling the wine. The bottling process is next. I have found that it is easier to do with two people. And then make sure that the bottles are clean, then filled up the sink or bowl with hot water to add the corks to so that they can soften up. Begin with placing the bucket on the floor under the carboy. Then insert the siphoning hose into the wine and begin siphoning the wine into the bottles. Place the bottles over to the side until finished siphoning all the wine. Then you are ready to begin corking the wine by just inserting the cork and pushing it down so far as possible until sealed. You are now finished making homemade wine and are ready to let it set outside in a warm spot, if possible, for about 2 weeks to a month to make sure all the gases are gone and the bottles don't explode. See, making homemade wine is easier and cheap in comparison to buying wine from the store due to the amount produced for the price. The longest part is letting it set for the month at each time, but worth it in the end. Most people do not know that it is not illegal to manufacture 200 gallons or under per year by each house without a license or a permit. I have made wild plum, dewberry, and pumpkin wines, so to end, I will say that a person should make one batch just to try because it is worth it.